Max Verstappen slipped through your fingers as a junior driver. If he was on the market again, you wouldn't miss him a second time, would you?
No, I wouldn't say that. I always say I don't flirt outside if I'm happy in the relationship, and in a professional way. If not, I get a really hard time from Susie. There's no question about that. Anyway, privately, but on a professional level, I'm super happy with the lineup we have. I couldn't wish for anything better, and Max is at Red Bull. We haven't had a conversation. We're continuing our trajectory.
Nigel Chu, Sky Sports, question for Toto. Earlier this year, Toto, you said, I think it was in March, that you were not going to flirt with the idea of signing Max. So has something changed in the last few months, either from your side or Red Bull side?
Define flirting. No, it's nothing changed. There is no flirt in that sense.
All right.
Depends how you act. You can flirt or you have conversations. It feels natural now to go to the next generation. Yeah. Max is a great driver and an interesting personality, and God knows what happens in the future. But having Kimi and George in the car, homegrown, real Mercedes juniors that delivered at every step of their career that we supported I'm very much looking forward to that situation. I don't even know what they refer to unsportsmanlike behavior or something like. What is it all about? Why do you know that? Who decides it? Because I'm 100% sure it's not Max. He's a racer. He would never go for a protest on such a trivial thing.
On to another topic that's grabbing all the headlines in it. I think something that lots of fans want to know. Is Max Verstappen going to join Mercedes next year?
If I would know.
Well, you should. If you know, then nobody does.
Well, at the end, Max is in the quickest car, and this is what a driver is always gonna look at. And he's in a fantastic place in his career, and then it will be a decision that is up to him to say, is it an environment that I'd like to change, and if yes, where do I want to go?
But would it be something that you guys as a team, he's in the form of his life, right? Any team, George said it himself, would be absolutely interested in him if he's a free agent. Is there a conversation around, look, 2026, this is the sort of thing you did with Lewis a decade ago, talk about the long term. Is that something you would be trying to do to try and entice him over?
I think the trigger for him maybe thinking about other options is because they have some wobbles going through their team, and I think we got to give him time to think how he wants to sort out his future without giving it a push from our side.
Next one, please.
Yeah, Phil Duncan, PA. Question for Toto. Just going back to George, Toto, is there any way in which George and Max could drive together at Mercedes? Is that an option at all, or not, given their history? And then just sort of secondly, in your eyes, is making George wait for his contract actually sort of helping improve his performance?
Well, I can imagine every lineup. I had Rosberg and Hamilton and fighting for a world championship, so everything else afterwards is easy. So, yeah, there's pros and cons of having two drivers fighting each other hard, and we've seen examples where that functioned and other examples where it didn't. And when it comes to the contract situation, our sport is pressure, constant pressure. Whether you're in the car, outside of the car, you just need to cope with that. And George knows that, like any other driver knows it. I feel that when you're being put in a comfort zone, sometimes that is actually more detrimental to performance than having a certain, a certain pressure point in the system.
What do you think? Are today's fans allowed to do that sort of thing, or is it right that it's criticised, that behaviour?
I think, as you say, I don't think that Max was booed, and we shouldn't, talk an event down that was mega just because one single individual, rightly or wrongly, was booed when he spoke up or when he spoke. So it was a great event. I mean, the spectators there were great. The presentation of the cars was good, and it sets a new format for the years to come. And that is the positive we need to take from that.
I'm excited for you. But having spent a little bit of time with Max, I think you and him would make a great duo, by the way.
We get on very well. Not always in the visibility of the public eye. I've known Jos for a long time. He has my age. We have similar views on racing, and I wouldn't want the year 2021 put any shadow on any personal relationship that we have. It was bad enough that year, but the relationships are intact.
How likely is it that Max Verstappen will be a Mercedes driver at some point soon?
I think when you look at the situation we have with Kimi and George, we have a perfect lineup that we very much enjoy, that we believe is the future. But at the same time, and there is a 4-time world champion that needs to decide what he's going to do in the future, and that is just as a team principal, you need to see where that is going. But I think I give it a very little probability that this is going to happen.
Whatever, or just for next year?
Well, you don't know what's going to be in 3 or 5 years. That's why you need to look at what is it that should be considered on the long term.
Thank you. Next.
Ludo van Denderen, GP blog. Toto, I was wondering, what was the deadline for you for Max that he has to let know if he's going to come to Mercedes? And if he says yes, is it then Antonelli or Russell that's the number one to go further?
Well, you make it sound like that we have been asking when do you want to join and what are the terms. That's not how it is and how it works. And I come back to my previous question. We haven't. I wanna just have the conversations in behind closed doors, not town halls. And we have 2 drivers that have been in our program since a long time. Drivers that I'm perfectly happy to have. Drivers that will do great in the future of the team. So it's a bit different, the situation.